Morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Taking a look at NASDAQ this morning. As usual, I sent out the daily bias, which is currently playing out quite nicely. I was looking for the sweep of the ERL, PM session high, and then we have all of this low resistance liquidity down here. And the reason that I'm favoring a reversal during New York is if you look at midnight opening price, we had no real manipulation below midnight, which has kind of been expanding, no real manipulation during London either. So I'd favor that all of this low resistance is taken out by the end of the day. We don't have to return all the way to Asian session low, but at least a manipulation down past this. I'd actually, they could go for Asian low too, but I want to see SMT at the highs. Let me send the picture out. Let me copy this picture. This is what, not that. That's too large. Okay, never mind. If you go to predictions chat, you'll look at what I'm favoring. Open, high, low, close, and we get basically something like this. Premium to discount. Get SMT as normal with ES. And then a breaker of some sort or order block or for value gap that would push us lower. Also notice how on ES we do have relative equal lows down here. The 830 news failed to sweep the lows. So we have relative equal lows and then all that low resistance on ES as well. So as of right now, I'm just looking for the SMT on the 15-minute chart. We've already started to climb up here. PM session high could form the SMT that we're looking for on ES. Now, I said if we continued all the way up to previous day high on NASDAQ and all the way, even further, get a continuation day, I would not favor that at all. With continuation days during the morning session, you want to see some sort of a London manipulation and an expansion into New York, right? So you already have your high of the day or low of the day put in during London, and then you just continue to expand on a higher time frame during New York morning session. And that was prevalent last week on, where's the continuation day? This one. This continuation day. London put in the high here. We had a manipulation above midnight open here, right? So this is your power of 3, and then here's your expansion below. We never got that today. So looking at these manipulation legs and identifying your low resistance liquidity, I already see 2 pools of low resistance. Pool here, a low resistance liquidity, and then obviously this pool over here, which is the relative equal buy side, 1 hour for value gap, and then previous day high. Obviously, YM is much more bearish than the other two. You've got PM session high all the way up here. So this is their ERL. And then DXY is bearish. Now I want you to notice all of the sell-side liquidity pools on DXY. I was aware of that. All of these low resistance in here. On DXY, what we could see is sell side to premium. So especially if we leave this gap unfilled, that would become a premium dealing range between here and the sweep of the low. And then obviously once we reverse on DXY, that should push us lower on the indices. But so far, we get our open and our high. For our time element so far, 8:30 to 9 o'clock, you're going to see a high and low put in, and then 9:30 to 10 put in the opposite end of the range. Obviously, we're expected to expand now into 10 o'clock since the high's been taken out here. 9:01. So this low will be stay in place for at least for the next 30 minutes or so. And then at 10 o'clock, we do have 10 a.m. news, so 10 a.m. news also could put the reversal in. But like I said, if we just expand up going into 10 o'clock and there's no evidence of reversal anywhere around 10 o'clock, then I'll probably just close out the charts and be done for the day. And so far, nice 80-point move up. So already got the volatility. I'll probably post a video on low resistance liquidity runs either this week or sometime next week. Because once you understand what they look like and how price action works during kill zones, I think it's easier to find your draw on liquidity. I did post, if you go to the Q&A section and you find the daily biases post, there's a PDF in there. Let me see if I can get the link. So if you want to download this, this is typically what I start to look for every morning. I don't look for everything in that list every single morning. It's kind of just become a habit. But if you are struggling with finding bias in the morning session or even just in the day, I think having a structured plan is easier. Now notice the price distance that we've already gotten so far. It's about 120 points. So a reversal between now and 10 o'clock, if we get it, would not mean that a new low is put in at 10:30. Like I would find it hard to believe that we get all of this price action traded all the way down into by 10:30. Like that's quite a steep decline. I think 11 o'clock putting in a new low would be fine. Especially if we're looking at just the symmetrical areas of price, an hour and then an hour. So into 10:30 to 11, preferably 11 o'clock. So there's ES piercing through their PM session high and previous day high. Completing the market maker buy model. And obviously there's still SMT here too. Even if you were looking for buys, such a large dealing range here that you need to see a pretty substantial drop back into discount. Unless we form some sort of a new dealing range in here. But I think just looking at RTH gap below us, 930. This just seems like the sucker's move, the retail move. Everyone's buying in here. Wait to the news. News will reverse us. We come all the way back down. Although notice how on the 5-minute, this large displacement like this, although we do have some low resistance down here, the large displacements is going to cause high resistance on the way back down. So as we trade through the gaps, we have to expect it kind of retracing a decent amount of times back up into premium. So I mean, as long as we got this SMT, this is still bearish. I want to see that hold for the next 5 minutes, for the next 10 minutes. And there's not really any swing lows in here that you would be looking for as a market structure shift or a breaker, anything like that. So when you have price action like this, and there's no areas where it's clear that you could have a change in state of delivery, where like if you had something like this, expands up, obvious low it made, and then it displaced through that. That's your textbook example of a market structure shift or of a change in state of delivery. When you have just an expansion like this, we have to look for is actually the right side of the curve to create the shift. So what you see is something like this. It may reverse and then displace through that low it made here. If you see that second leg of distribution, then you can take either the parent dealing range up here or the child dealing range here, and then look for the same exact thing you normally look for. but the low would be actually forming on the right side of the curve instead of the left side, which is one variation that you see in the 2022 model as well. Oh, for an example, like if we had something like this, we had a gap here, it trades into that gap, creates a low, fails to run this high, and we see a displacement through that, then I would count that as a market structure shift. Partially because this would have been a intermediate term low. But anyways. And we got 10 a.m. news. Yep, unfortunate. How you doing, Unc? Tomorrow we got 8:30 and 10 a.m. too. Normally the 10 a.m. news when you have 8:30 as well isn't terrible. It's not like, I mean, even on Tuesday it wasn't terrible either. Got a clean setup. I posted both Tuesday and Wednesday's price action reviews into the models and reviews chat over there. So if you want to download those PDFs, you can. So 9:43, we got 2 minutes left till the 15-minute candle is done printing. I mean, now getting close. Even so, we do have, oh no, we don't, never mind. Yeah, it really is just this SMT. What's up, how you doing? A close below previous day high on both would indicate a reversal. It'd be a good sign of one. I wouldn't say it's indicative of a reversal. You need to see SMT. So if there's no SMT, then there's no reversal. Especially if YM was to close back inside this gap. Look how there's a sibi over here. If the candle body stayed within this gap, I would like that a lot. Yeah, it is. YM is like the worst one to get SMT with, I'm not gonna lie. NQ, ES, best pair, then NQ and DXY, which is harder to spot in the beginning because it's inversely correlated than SMT with YM. I don't have a problem with SMT with YM when it's session liquidity pools. I have a problem when it's something like, actually we do have bullish SMT here. But when it's something like the 9:30 and like the 8:45 candle, when it's right in the morning session like here, I have a problem trusting that normally. Just because in the first like 15-20 minutes of market open, YM just does the complete opposite every single day. So it's not really any use. So what I'd want to see is, if we're bearish, a displacement through this low. Like now you could see, even if we were to trade up through that high, we have a breaker that would be forming. So like an expansion through this, then you have your breaker set up. So there's your first 15 minutes. Closed right on the previous day high here and slightly above on NASDAQ as well. And we did not close within the IRL, which is kind of annoying. There's no 1 hour gap either. May just be that kind of day. No setup. Let's see. I'll stay patient. I'll give it till 10:10. If we don't get anything, if news doesn't displace us, then I'm done. Tiny sibi up there. I mean, look at even 8:30 open and true day open were above both. That'd be normally a good bearish sign. Tuesday. Oh yeah, we do that one day for value gap. It's a good point. But that's IRL, and then you look for salsa liquidity anyway, so it lines up with the bias. Is there SMT? Yeah, slight SMT there. 1 minute. Now, okay, this is where, if you watched core content month 4, you know what a mitigation block is. These are your highest quality mitigation blocks. When you have SMT like this, actually, let's go to ES first. When you have SMT, or actually, when you're just looking at price action like this, high, low, higher, high. That last down closing candle would be your breaker, right? When you have SMT and it fails to sweep the high, something like this, this last down closing candle is extremely, extremely strong most times. That's your mitigation block, even this order block up here. So as price displaces through this low and was to come back and tap up into this range and the inversion gap technically, that's one of the I think it's the strongest. Mitigation blocks are the strongest PD ray in the matrix. And if you didn't know that there was a strength index on the PD rays, go to, I think it's core content month 10. I don't know, but, and from my memory, it goes mitigation block, breaker block. After that, I think I forgot. It's like fair value gap, order block, volume balance, rejection block, old high, or low. Something like that. And about to get our displacement through the market structure shift. And look at that nice healthy candle. Now you have daily range between the low and the high, like we were anticipating. There you go. And you got the inversion for value gap up here. Good point. So now, let me screenshot this. Entering macro time as well. The only reason I'm a little hesitant is because on the 5-minute, we're just dropping into discount. But with everything in line, I think that it shouldn't matter. Already had a bearish bias. We already got the open, the high. We're approaching 10 o'clock, starting to get a reversal. So even though we're dropping into a discount for rally gap here on the 5-minute, for me, I'd be fine with taking that as a loss if it does come up and sweep these highs, especially since it's just playing out to my bias. What you have to do is when you get a bias in the morning and it looks like it's sticking to it, hold to that bias for the entire day. Unless you're blatantly obvious, there should be no reason you're flipping bias super quickly, right? Like if you don't get exactly what you're looking for, there's always going to be some variation. So don't always be tripped up if it doesn't do exactly what you want it to and flip bias super quickly. That should just be something that you build over experience, really over anything. What is this? 30. Look at the displacement we're getting now. So we got the mitigation block in here. Bearish order block for value gap in premium now. Nice, Kev. Beautiful entry. So just because it's running away, this is where a lot of people probably, if you had the bias or if you think this is a missed setup, it's not. If there is no setup, there is no trade. So FOMO is a big thing that a lot of people struggle with. Just because it's running away like this, it's fine. From back testing, you should know, okay, if I want an entry, there's a high likelihood it's going to return back into premium. And even if you look at this dealing range, we're dropping to discount, we go back up to premium, that's fine, right? And if it never comes up and touches this range, then there's no setup, there's no trade. Yeah, 10 a.m. news candle could pop us up into here. I would like the candle bias really to stay within the order block. Remove this. We do have this fair value gap too, actually. So you got to be mindful of this. So you get a 40, 39 point range. Probably a 2-minute gap. There you go. So preferably it touches into this premium gap here. It could fill this one and leave. I want it to trade slightly into the mitigation. There's also a volume imbalance right there. So if it touches that volume imbalance and that order block with the fair value gap, best case scenario. Could put a little demo on here. That's 14. So trade up into premium, into the gap. Where's the limit order? Oh, there we go. Looking at this AM low, 830 London, and then there's a little sus liquidity pool here, right on the New York Open, not New York Open, Midnight Open. See how ES is doing. So it didn't get up in a premium here. Splicing away quickly. So you could still see that retracement happen on NASDAQ. It's a little laggy today. Look at the candle buys here closing outside of the gap. Normally pretty weak signature. And if you remember the recap, that was on, I don't know, last Friday, maybe last Thursday when I was on vacation, between 9:53 and 9:59. That's like the macro sweet spot in that range. Really, it's between, if you look between 54, I'd say 53, 54, 55, 56. A lot of good entries in that window. Now, for example, if we just dig up into this gap, wilt lower, that doesn't mean you just FOMO entry in on a bearish candle. You would still need to wait for a premium retracement. Because think about how many opportunities you have in a market maker style model. You have the low risk buy, the low risk sell, first stage, turtle soup, second stage, all within that range. So, you know, maybe up to 5 different entries. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there could be another inversion for value up here. So multiple different opportunities to get in. You have this sibi here. And even on, think about it, like on a best case scenario, you do have a turtle soup on this high. That's your low risk, or your first stage, whatever you want to call it. This would technically be the low risk, I guess. Five-minute bullish SMT, not important. That's YM. For me, no. Maybe for you. I already have a bearish bias, so I wouldn't really look at that as something I'd be super interested in. But if you're a long bias, then maybe. So there's your turtle soup. Gotta change this color. Just need one little dig up into here. Now, obviously, if this candle closes quickly, displaces through this, then you have a breaker in here, fractal breaker. High, low, higher, high, displaces through. That'd be your change in state down here. So then you look for, okay, if that's turtle soup and they change in state and we display through this low, then you could look for a secondary entry if this one was missed between this range, previous high and the low that's formed. It's tapping into the volume balance. There you go. So now preferably you want to see this range hold. If that bullish SMT was is holding, then my bias was wrong, which I'm fine with living with that. But especially if DXY can start pumping up into their premium inefficiency here, it would look good. TPB down at least to this low, maybe London low. And then we're down there. If it comes stops me out, it is what it is. Part of the game. Is there a volume bounce in this order block? Not really. Yeah, barely. Oh yeah, that was the news. You're right. So up into the premium end of the fair value gap. Let me remove some of this stuff. This is a 1 hour IRL. So for me, we need to see a displacement through this, use it as inversion, and then a change in state of delivery below here. If we don't get any reaction through this order block, it's actually really, I don't even care about this. We'll get a reaction off this anyways. This is what I'm looking for. If there's no closure past this, then for sure I'm wrong. I mean, even here, you can see we're holding this bisi quite well. Not even caring about the mitigation block. Let's see what ES is doing. ES is back into premium. Touch their bearish order block here. That's what I'm saying. We could get that retracement since ES never reached premium in this range. But if it gives no reaction off this order block, that's your breaker technically. I mean, technically this is the breaker, but last stop closing candle range, that's your bearish order block. 2 minute, your 2 minute fair value gap in here. So really last chance to get any displacement. Let's take a look on YM. And this is the only SMT. Up here. And especially DXY starting to wick out the bottoms. I mean, it's not really the best sign. Let's go to the hourly. Is there a gap? Okay, there's a gap in here. In discount of the daily range. So discount fair value gap. We have smooth highs and low resistance up on here. So you look at all of this. It needs to climb through this inversion gap. Treat it as inversion, actually. Same thing in here. We gotta get a closure through the 954 candle. Kind of just hovering around the gap and the mitigation block. Let me screenshot this really quickly. Send it over. Demo trade, obviously. Not financial advice. So, reasons I could be wrong. We've got this gap holding price up quite well. All the bodies are staying above it. If I can grab it. Right in here. Now, I could still be wrong. Even if it drops here and touches into this order block, we got to watch how we respond to this order block. Probably we'll see one last retracement. Best case scenario, this is what you see. Taps the order block, returns into premium of like a wick or something. Taps the lower end of this, and then comes back down. If this expands and changes any delivery, like if we were to close, like if we were to come back, touch this order block, this high should be protected in reality. You wouldn't want it to come all the way back up and take that high, because then we're going to go for that high, which then we would go for further into the gap. And if you look at the hourly chart really quickly, hourly fair value gap here with the daily fair value gap, premium IRL to sell side ERL. We have sell side down here. The only thing that would be wrong is the timing. I'm not worried too much. 830 low. 830 news low. Wouldn't be a terrible target. Even the 830 opening price. And then like the AM session low. Best case scenario. Partials and stops out of break even. Nice short. How'd you even get in that? That's a crazy entry. Good stuff. I'm going to BPR on SMT. Oh, nice. Use these kind of entries in a couple months already. Tested and works great. Hey, it's a good model then. As long as it works. All right, so this is the tipping point, I guess. This gap paired with the order block. If you're bullish, that would be a good long, right? Discount of the dealing range. So if we obviously displace change of state delivery below here, then that would be a great sign that it's just disrespecting the order block entirely. Volume bounce there. Obviously this bisi will the bisi may cause some resistance if we can get down there, but it is technically a breakaway gap. So I don't think it will cause too much. We'll have to see if it actually even gets down there. All right, so you wicked the order block, holding the fair value gap with the candle body there. Like I said, it could return up to the lower portion of this premium sibi, touch it, touch that order block, and come all the way back down. And then I also said it shouldn't take out this high. Screenshot this again. So it needs to displace through the CISD. Remember, NASDAQ is also the weaker one compared to the ES with the SMT at the highs. It's not really the weaker one. I mean, just because it failed to make this high is not super important. It's just a 1 minute SMT. But I mean, just using this, then technically it's the weaker one. We got the reaction off the order block, like I said. We want to see a quick one. Low probability order block here because there's no inefficiency. But same kind of logic. We have the order block range in here for value gap. It needs to displace and close past this range. It's taking so long to move. All right, looks like it probably gets stopped out here. I have one kamikaze account where I take this kind of more risky entries, another account for more conservative entries. That's a good idea. I've seen Paladin do that too. where he's like an aggressive account and a more passive one. So obviously nice displacement here. Look for this high and then this high. So this is now the draw on liquidity. Buy set up here. I'm going to screenshot the execution. Boring stuff. Well, took a loss. I really do not care. Basically everything in line with bias. Took a little long over here, but everything in line with bias. Got the open high, started displays through the low. Trade into the mitigation and the premium inefficiency. SMT thighs. It is what it is, right? Like, can't be mad about that. So now you can look for a new high between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. That is kind of a rough model. Like, if you look at the 15-minute chart really quickly. No bullish SMT at the lows. This was the 9:45 15-minute candle anyways. YM, we did have London low pierce there. And then no manipulation with the low, true day open. If you look at the daily candle really quickly, see exactly what I mean. This wick is because of the 6 a.m. price action. Sorry, 6 p.m. price action. But true day here. Anyways, so I'm not going to force anything else, although I do think it'll probably displace through the highs and continue to expand up. I'm done for the day. One loss. I'll take it as on the chin. We'll move into tomorrow, hopefully with some better PA. I'll wrap up the stream there. So hopefully you enjoyed something, learned something. I don't know. I'm gonna head out, go get some breakfast, get some coffee, and hopefully you can enjoy the rest of your day. Get outside if you can, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.